Good morning. My name is Dr. Terrence Alexander Rizal. They call me Dr. T. I am a social and behavioral scientist, one of the rare black and social behavioral scientists that exist. And I discovered a reality in the black community, a question that has been grilling me since a child. I've always known since a child that something was wrong in the black race. As a child, my mother was a godly woman. She had friends of all nationalities and encouraged us to have friends and relationships with people from all cultures and nationalities, Jewish, Italian, Russian. I grew up with all kids, Haitians, Africans. And I am telling you, I've noticed my mother knew something was wrong with black people. My mother knew something was wrong with the Democratic Party. My mother never trusted the Democratic Party. She saw them as liars and criminals. And I'm going to show you why that's true. I'm going to prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that it is not white people that is causing the systemic poverty and lack of progress in the black race. It's us. It's three sellout niggas that sold us out for the enrichment of their own race. Holy Spirit, help me to show these people the truth. Shine the light into the darkness and show what these people have done to us. These people are Luciferians. Let me show you how it started. It started off with a man named Karl Marx. Karl Marx was a Luciferian. And these people, I believe, tapped into dark demonic forces that gave them these ideas. I don't believe that these ideas are human in nature. I believe that they are dark and they are demonic. And they gave these ideas to these men. This man, Karl Marx, who was a Luciferian, he was a Satan worshiper. He was in poverty when Tavistock found him, when they found him. He was in poverty, his kids were starving, he was molesting his kids. He wrote poems in his dedication, expressing his dedication to Satan, that were so dehumanizing and so demonic. The man wrote in his poems that he wanted to eat the shit out of his daughter's ass and chew it out of her asshole, put it back in her asshole, take it out with his mouth and chew it again, because he loves Satan so much. This satanic monster, Karl Marx, met with Chatham House. Chatham House is what Tavistock Institute was in their embryo stage. Wellington House, they called them the Great Writers of Wellington House in London. H.G. Wells was a member. And what they did was, you remember, War of the Worlds, that scared the hell out of everybody, people thinking it was real. That was a test run. They were using writings to see if they can make writings so real and so believable that people would believe them. That was the foundation that Tavistock was built on, deceiving and fooling people through the science of social engineering. This guy, Karl Marx, met with them at the London Library, at the London Conference. They're all communist Luciferians. Communism and Luciferianism are synonymous. When they created communism together with Tavistock and the social engineers, they created a satanic doctrine. It has sexual perversion in it. It has death in it. The doctrine will only lead to what Satan wants and what these people want, and that is total destruction. That is why the Communist Manifesto and socialism has destroyed whatever it's gone, because it is the doctrine of death. That's what it is supposed to do. In it, it says, even to the sacrifice of your friend, meaning there's no relationships in communism. I was married to a Russian woman, so I know all about the shit. In communism, even your friends and families are all enemies. You can kill them at any time. It is a demonic, dark doctrine, and that's what you see in the black community today. That's why we kill each other at 98%, because we have been infected with the Communist Manifesto. So he met with them in Tavistock in 1847. They met with, starting the Bolshevik War, John Lennon, they met with him later on in 1970. They met with him and financed the Baltic War. This is how it started. These people are all mad scientists, social engineers, and they're brilliant. Started off with Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud's family is riddled with pedophilia. His father raped Anna, him, all of them. I believe that he was trying to cure himself of being a pedophile. He has a nephew who's a prolific pedophile who was investigated in the missing of Madeline. Might have saw that. That was huge all over the news. Sigmund Freud. He began the breakthroughs in psychology. He then gave his work to Erich Bernays. Erich Bernays was from Germany, psychopath, Luciferian, who was interested in social engineering, which is the science of controlling people without them knowing it. You can give them entire lives to live. They would live it out and think that it was theirs and not ever know it. This is the guy who started it with the Tavistock Institute, Erich Bernays. This is the guy who wrote the book Propaganda. This is the guy who started women who used propaganda and social engineering to make what women think that they were more beautiful if they smoked cigarettes and they died. He also pushed the propaganda that fluoride was good for you. Fluoride is the sludge that's left over after you process uranium. How in the world can that be good for your teeth? But these millionaires and billionaires ran into storing problems of storing this toxic element. So they came up with this, and he's the one who pushed the idea to use it. So now they sell it rather than store it and make money off of poison. They then, Erich Bernays worked with this guy, Kurt Van Loren. Kurt Van Loren was from Germany, probably oversaw Auschwitz, because all the science from social engineering comes from Auschwitz. You see, to do this science, you gotta fillet people. You have to have human subjects, and you have to fillet them, and you have to be an expert in the theories of human motivational processes. What makes people do what they do, and how you can trigger and motivate people to do what you want them to do. This is the guy, lunatic psychopath, Kurt Van Loren. This guy taught at Duke University, where they're having all those problems. He taught at Harvard. That's why they hate the Jews. I believe that he was involved with the Holocaust, because for some reason Harvard hates Jews. And all of these mad scientists and social engineers did all their work at Harvard. So Kurt Van Loren was there. He also taught at Syracuse University, where I believe they were involved with running experiments at Teen Challenge. That's a book I hope to get to write someday, but I'm writing a book called The Black Disease, where I prove and show you that what's going on in the black community was created through social engineering, and that the civil rights movement was completely socially engineered and fabricated using actors and using the science of social engineering, infecting black people purposely with the Communist Manifesto. This guy, Kurt Van Loren, is an expert in the same field I'm an expert in, human motivational processes, but he's a genius and I'm not. He trained this guy, Williams. This guy, Williams, they're all social engineers. They're all doing this science of controlling people's minds. He then trains this guy, H. Stanley Hall. H. Stanley Hall was presented as the man who received the first PhD in psychology at Harvard, which had to be bullshit because all the people who trained him were PhDs in social engineering, which is psychology. They used this guy to then roll out the creation of HBSUs, which would all be social engineering schools that would continue to infect black people with the Communist Manifesto. That's what I'm telling you. All of those HBSUs are social engineering schools, dumbing down black people, making sure that their education never meets the standards of whites. And they continue to use these blacks, putting them into positions making them look like that they're geniuses and shit when they're really dumbing down the United States and breaking down our institutions. This guy then opened up the Atlanta Clark School, which was an HBSU he was a social engineering. You're now social engineering. But before this happened, let me bring you down to history of when we were out of slavery. We ended slavery in 1865, and we were basically 100% illiterate, all of us, because they would murder you if you got caught teaching a black person how to read. The laws on that, I've read them. I've done all the research in Black history for my book, and it was unbelievable. No one took the chance of teaching a black person how to read. Do you know by 1917 we had almost 100% literacy, and we had created a English language, a style of English that was so perfect and beautiful, and we did it only by the Bible. See, we were Christians when we came from Africa. We know we were because we came singing songs in the cotton fields. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth the cat. That's from the book of Isaiah. We wrote the first Bible in Ethiopia. We were Christians. And that's what got us through. We didn't get bitter. We praised the Lord and asked for his deliverance. And in 1865, we got it. Do you know that we created the greatest educational system in the world that has not been competed with this thing? We recovered from slavery faster than any race. And when the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers saw that shit, when they saw that, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and Dale Carnegie saw that shit, it scared the hell out of them. And then they decided to offer us Tuskegee Institute. And that's where they brainwashed us with the Communist Manifesto. Let me show you what these monsters did to us. You can see that there were no white people in this school. It was all black doctors and nurses. Do you know that we went from there and helped Margaret Sanger sterilize our own black women? Do you know that Margaret Sanger paid black pastors because they infiltrated all the black theologies with the Communist Manifesto and replaced the Bible, the Southern Conference? So all these pastors had already been brainwashed. They had already taken over all the black seminaries where they got Martin Luther King, and they had brainwashed them, replaced the Bible with the Communist Manifesto, gave these niggas $500 each. They went to all the churches convincing black women to sterilize their kids. Then they were sterilizing black women without their knowledge, and it was black doctors and nurses doing it to their own black people. Then they sat there and experimented on their own black people, watching them die of syphilis when there was a cure, and sat there and let their own black people die. Because what happened? Let me tell you what happened. Let Dr. T tell you what happened. You see the same shit today. What they did in that school is they brainwashed these black people to see their own black people as not really black, as coons. They say the same things to Dr. T today, and every black person who tries to tell you ain't really black, you a coon. That's what they did at Tuskegee when they brainwashed them. They got them to see their own black people as not really black and as coons. That was part of this contract that these three sellout niggas made when they sold us out. You see, when they saw us perform at the level that we scared the shit out of them, they went to these three sellout niggas and got them to sell us all out, the rest of the 90% of blacks, for the enrichment of their three lineages. And to this day, they're committed to covering this shit up. That's why you see them working night and day to keep black people hating white people, because they are desperate that we don't find this shit out. That they sold us out and it ain't white people. That it's these three niggas, Booker T. Washington, W.E.B. Du Bois. He's the one that orchestrated the shit with Margaret Sanger going to the churches convincing black people to kill their babies. These three niggas sold us out. This guy, Carter Woodson, to this day owns a company called the Black History Unlocked, where he constantly spews false propaganda, false black excellence, to fool y'all that we're doing okay when only their lineages are prospering. That's what's going on. All of Hollywood is from their bloodlines. All these people, that blacks that you see that are billionaires and men, are all allowed to make it according to this contract. When you saw Black Wall Street, you were made to believe that Black Wall Street was the result of these racist whites. It was the result of this contract that these three niggas made, that no one would be allowed to succeed other than their three bloodlines. And Wall Street wasn't in the bloodline, and they destroyed them. And these niggas were a part of it and knew the entire time, but let you think it was just white people. All of these guys were given PhDs from Harvard by these social scientists so they can continue this shit, brainwashing us with the Socialist Communist Manifesto, watching us destroy each other, and watching the people that are not on this bloodline generation after generation decline. And you can see that our race is declining. Don't you see that year after year, the ones that are not in this bloodline continue to decline while there's this small population of blacks that continue to thrive? It is because of this Farsian Luciferian contract that was made by these three niggas. So after that, they used the creation of the Socialist Communist Manifesto to create the civil rights movement and infect all those people with the Socialist Communist Manifesto. That's why it's all fight, destroy, burn down. And what they did was, it took me a while to find Rosa Parks. She didn't go to college. What they recruited her from was this sellout nigga's high school that they gave him for selling us out. They recruited her from Booker T. Washington's high school. Rosa Parks, it was all an act. They were at the folk school. Listen, I read the FBI reports. J. Edgar Hoover, they all had wiretaps on them, so they all knew what was going on. They were all having orgies. They were all homosexuals. Every time they came to town, all the pastors were all having sex with each other, with women and men, because they were infected with the Socialist Communist Manifesto, which is the doctrine of death, which is a doctrine of perversion. That's why all these Democrats, you'll find out all the time, are involved in some sexual perversion. Fannie Willis, all of them, you'll all find out that they have this because for some reason, this entity loves homosexuality, loves sexual perversion, loves lesbianism, loves transgenderism, they love it. And they promote it. They created the civil rights movement. It was all an act. It was a violent organization. They created the folk school. I have the transcripts. The FBI agents went there, supposed to be a school teaching children. FBI agent went there 3 times, no children. One guy was a social engineer. They were training them in the Communist Manifesto, which is it's psychological warfare. They pretend to be peaceful. We shall over. But they're secretly hiring organizations to, I got the transcripts. I got the FOIA request. They were hiring violent felons to commit violence after them, then pretending, oh my God, they were provoking people to be violent with them, then claiming we're being peaceful. This was the psychological warfare bullshit that they're doing right now with Black Lives Matters, and they're tearing apart our cities. They pretend to be peaceful, but they have an entire organization and plan for violence, then they can claim being victims. And this is the psychological warfare aspect of the Communist Manifesto. It is a doctrine of deception and death. So they recruited this nigga, recruited her, recruited another guy named black dude from Atlanta, Clarksville to train them. And I have the pictures where they were in the school getting trained. Here is the clips I got from the FOIA request where they were violent, burning down shit. Here's a woman, she's breaking people's arms. If you don't cooperate with the civil rights movement, they'll kill you. They were breaking people's arms, putting people's eyes out. Listen, I have the documents, man. They were a psychotic, sick organization based on a satanic doctrine. The Communist Listen, this is what's going on. The United States is under attack by the Communist Manifesto. If we don't get these communists, listen, all these mayors, all of them are communist socialists. The entire Democratic Party are communist socialists, and it's demonic. Listen, we got to get communism out of our country. It is the great threat. All of these schools, all of them, these HBSUs are constantly creating communists. Let me show you this. This is from J. Edgar Hoover's diary, his report of what they were doing in the civil rights movement. It strives to promote the aims through Negro Communist Fronts organizations. They were creating organizations because at these schools, the Clark Clark School, they were creating black social scientists. Nobody knew that they were social scientists. They were hiding this in the degrees like they were when they rolled out H. Stanley Hall. They were sending them into in the black neighborhoods, and they were brainwashing black people, infecting them with negativism about the United States of America, and they thought that they were one of us. They weren't. They were sent there to brainwash them, and this went on for decades. Do you know it went on so well that when they were brainwashing the black people with the Communist Manifesto, they also infiltrated and controlled all legitimate black organizations. There was no legitimate black organizations left, none. The NAACP was a complete socialist communist organization, completely taken over. I even found out that even the company that made and wrote, they were from African Episcopal America. They even took that over, civil rights, and started writing stuff. And they even wrote the saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names may never harm me." They took that out and wrote that on purpose to fool people, so people wouldn't understand the power of words and that they could be brainwashed. They laid the platform for this. They took over. I even read it. The pastor's church that they took over, he even protested against them being taken over. He said that they were colonializing them. And what was happening is the Communist Socialist Manifesto and the communists, these Luciferians, were taking over the churches. And he even complained about it, but he was too weak and old to do anything about it. He died. They're violent. I have the proof. Listen, the civil rights movement is bullshit. If black people continue to practice the civil rights movement, it will end in our extinction. I'll also show you how they created Islam in the Quran. I'll show you how it was socially engineered. Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, Islam, all of these religions were socially engineered by these psychopaths to destroy our world, our country. In Jesus' name, I'm telling you the truth. This is Dr. T. Have a good day.